Hello and welcome to You're Wrong About Musicals. I'm Essay.
And I'm Nell.
Today we are going to be talking about Come From Away. But first, I feel like we have a lot of news to get through at the start. Is there anything you want to start with particularly, or should we just...
I finished my essay
Yes, Nell
like an
finished
hour
her
ago.
essay an hour ago and is on 4 hours of sleep and is now currently drinking.
Okay, 4 hours of sleep, 5 cups of coffee, and then me and my flatmate cracked open some prosecco to celebrate because we both just finished our essays.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm a bit out of it.
I finished all of my assignments for this assessment period yesterday.
I have another one in 2 weeks.
Oh, it was so bad. They were all a week after each other. But some theatre news, not news from our
Ah,
lives. Where's
Hayley
your
Town
face?
casting came out like
Hadestown
today.
casting came out literally a couple of hours ago.
We're recording this a day later because I had to
Yeah,
write my essay.
yeah.
So it came out today.
It came out today. Our predictions were wrong because we did predict some
Yeah.
things. And we were quite off the mark.
Honestly, okay, just a little. Just a little.
Just a tiny weeny bit. We were off the mark. Um, Shrek is
Shrek
coming
is coming to the Hammersmith Apollo,
to the Amazon Apollo. It's
and I won't
massive.
say anything more about that location.
No, how many times have you been there and for what purpose?
I've been there twice this
Uh-huh.
year.
Uh-huh.
Once for a show,
Mm-hmm.
and the second time also for a show.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Dear Evan Hansen is continuing its reign of terror and doing a
Oh,
non-replica UK tour.
I haven't forgot about that. To be honest.
I think it's hilarious that they've had to already do a show that a production that is completely re-examining the source material, even though it's like 5 years old.
Do you remember when we just randomly decided to dissect Dear Evan Hansen at like 11 p.m. at night?
Yeah,
And then a year later, here we are.
here we are. Did they have access to our text messages? I hope so, to then make a better production.
That's the problem. It's a non-replica. I know a lot about non-replicas from Phantom.
Phantom.
It just means it's going to use the song and have a different staging.
Yeah. It's like the
The plot
costumes
isn't
might
going to
be
be
different.
the costume. They might have more of an ensemble. They might
Yeah.
split a character in half and give them two.
They might like
But
have they might change the screens on the stage, and the screens were one of the only good things about it.
maybe they'll give him more than just like a bed and a bedside table for his bedroom set.
Like maybe they'll change the
Maybe
direction a little bit so
maybe
Evan's
they'll.
a little bit more of the villain, you know?
I don't think they can.
But you
They're,
can't without completely
having
rewriting
read that script multiple times,
it.
I can't disclose where I got the script.
No, it was
But
very
I
legal.
certainly didn't pay money for it
No. Why would
because I
why
would not do that.
why would we give our money to David Hansen?
We have seen it.
We've seen it. Also, can you guys like? I love the fact that people listening listen to our David Hansen episode, but please, the editing on that is horrific.
This is okay. I keep getting like the clips of us. I don't follow us on anything because I hate listening to myself speak.
Fair enough. Yeah. So
Specifically, okay. But whenever I get the clips of like me talking,
yeah.
I've noticed two things. Number one is that my mic always sounds like I'm slightly underwater.
Okay.
To the point where I was watching a little Simsy video
Yeah.
and she had like an ad for a Logitech mic, and I was like, you know what, maybe. Maybe I should. I was like, you know what?
You
I like
know what,
lit up and
Simsy?
everything. I was like, you know what?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
This might be a shout.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, this is gonna be so specific. Do you know that clip? It's from like the Frenemies podcast that I don't even know his name, but the guy makes fun of
Ethan.
Trisha. Ethan, that's his name. Makes fun of Trisha for always ending her sentences like
Yes. Yeah. I know that clip. Yep.
I sound like that.
No, you don't.
I realized listening. I've listened to my voice. I actually did get made fun of for doing that exact thing, and I thought I'd stopped, but apparently I haven't.
I don't hear it, and I spend a lot of time listening to your voice.
I know. Maybe it's just when I hear it, I'm really like hyper
Yeah.
aware of it.
No, I'm hyper aware of my own voice and how it sounds, so it's just a thing.
But I sound like just a really annoying like valley girl. Like if Britain had Valley Girls, that would be
You
my
sound like a
voice.
West London Valley girl.
I really do. I don't even remember what clip it was, but I was just listening to it. It was probably from the Phantom episode because that's where I talked like the most.
Yeah.
And I was like, my God, my voice is horrific.
So yeah.
Who's let me walk around like this for 20 years?
Then that's me when I listen to the sound of my own voice. I'm like, who's not, how have I not got punched more for sounding really annoying? Um
Merrily We Roll Along cast album.
It's so good. I listened to it yesterday. It's so good.
For reference, Esme's saying that because we spent an hour figuring out the plot.
Yeah.
And then she listened to it.
And then I listened to it. The plot is batshit. How come no one told me how batshit this plot is? I was texting with Martha today, and I was like, "Have you listened to the new Merrily soundtrack?" And she's like, "No, I've been meaning to." And I was like, "Daniel Radcliffe's really good at it." And she's like, "Sorry, what? Daniel Radcliffe?" And I was like,
yeah. Okay, I should mention I might say a lot in this, but we talked about this yesterday because we did try and record this yesterday, and then I was like, no, I need to write my essay.
No, I just got too distracted.
I didn't write it.
No.
But we talked like I really love Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe picks the coolest stuff to do because he's got a lot of fame and like power behind him. And she was like, "Why don't I do sometimes biggest flop?"
He's so good. I love Daniel Radcliffe.
I've never seen Harry Potter, but I think he's pretty cool. Grammy nominations came out. I was informed by a friend who I was helping her run lines, and I was also watching the Grammy nominations at the same time. And apparently, when like a category would come up, I would like stand like a man watches the football, like hands on my hips, like feet apart, like staring intensely at it. And for musical theatre album, Sweeney Todd, Akimbo, Akimbo, Parade, and Shucked are all nominated. Oh, and Some Like a Hot, I believe. Yeah.
I really want to listen to Shucked. I haven't listened to it for ages.
I've not listened to it. I've listened to bits, I think. I've listened to a couple songs. Yeah.
I had other okay, have you watched the Wait in the Wings video yet?
About what? Shucked?
About Star Kid.
No, wait.
Trail to Oregon.
No, I've not seen that
today.
No, I've been in classes all day.
Oh my God, I saw it. Okay, last night when I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
I saw it, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I need to watch it," but then I didn't. But it's about Trail to Oregon, and it looks really good.
That is.
And I can't wait to watch it.
This week on Gatsby Corner, it unfortunately closed in New Jersey. Sad. However, according to Reddit, they are trying to get people to subscribe to their mailing list.
Are you subscribed?
No, because I'm probably not going to get to go see it.
May as well know.
No, I'll just know. Like, there'll just be like a bat signal. There'll be like something will come over me and be like, "Oh, check like playbill.com," and I'll know. They don't need to be on the mailing list. It will just be intuitive.
Trying to think if there's anything else musical related to talk
I feel
about.
like there's something else.
Fucking David Cameron came back. I don't know if that's important.
That was finally mentioned in one of my classes this week. It was like insane. There's this Rodgers and Hammerstein concert that's happening at the Palladium, and it's got like an insane cast that just keeps being announced.
Yeah.
It's like Ashley Park, Audra McDonald, Aaron Tveit, Lucy St. Louis.
Was Imelda Staunton last week or this week?
Imelda Staunton, I think, was this week.
Imelda Staunton's going to be in Hello Dolly.
Yeah.
At
the London Palladium.
I really want to go see her. I fucking love Imelda Staunton.
Do you actually?
I really do. I don't know if you know this, guys. I got an email recently about being in the top listeners for Frank Sinatra.
Yes! You were so proud.
I really love Frank Sinatra.
You sent it to me, it was like, for some, this would be a loss, but for me, it's a win.
The thing is, he's not going to be on my Spotify Wrapped because I listen to so much else more than I listen to Frank Sinatra. But by like a normal standard, I listen to so much Frank Sinatra.
Guys, I'm so glad that the Merrily album has come out post Spotify Wrapped season.
No, it's not.
Spotify Wrapped stopped counting, I swear.
No, they said it was extended.
Yeah, but they've just put out something a minute ago saying Spotify Wrapped coming soon.
Okay, slow.
Yeah.
God, how soon is soon?
Within the next month, probably. But guys, listen. I know that the people probably listening to this are people who fear Spotify Wrapped season.
Oh yeah.
So freedom at last. Everyone, start listening to the Geekcast.
No, I shan't be doing that. I'll continue to listen to my plethora of Andrew Lloyd Webber recordings.
Andrew Lloyd Webber wasn't in Nell's top artist last week, and I was very proud.
Who was it last week? It's because I was streaming a new album.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm putting this out there. Go and stream. This is not going to be relevant by the time that this comes out. James Marriott's new album, Don't Blame Me. That's not even the name of it. Are we there yet? Don't Blame Me, there's a song on it. I'm so tired. Go and stream Are We There Yet?
Yeah.
By James Marriott.
Yeah. Right, let's finally get into Come From Away. Come From Away is a musical by husband and wife team, Irene Shankoff and David Hein. It first came about when a lawyer, Michael Rubinoff, believed that audiences would respond to the power of hope emerging throughout tragedy. But most figured his concept of finding the bright side in one of the world's most notorious acts of terrorism was too macabre. So he was like, I want to do something about community and 9/11, which
I kind of get where they're coming from. Like, if you told me there's a musical about 9/11 and it has pretty significant amounts of comedy,
yes.
I'd be like, I don't think I'd listen to it if that was the pitch you gave me. However, I do really like it.
Yeah, so then he found out about the story of Gander and Newfoundland and said it made him feel proud to be Canadian, and he kept thinking about how great of a story it was. He then approached several writers about the concept, but they did not share the same passion or enthusiasm. But he like kept going around. Like this is still the early like 2010s, like shopping around to be like listening to stuff. In 2009.
Did he come up with this after 9/11?
Couple years?
That's a bit dark. I'm not seeing like a terrorist act to be like, this would make a fucking banger musical.
This would make some banger tunes. He approached several right. Yeah.
That's kind of insane. I thought they would like come up with like a year before it released.
No, this thing has been about since like 2010. No, 2012. Sorry.
Okay, 10 years are still a bit.
Yeah. So in 2009,
had just been elected. They're already writing the 9/11 musical.
2009, Rubinoff went to go see the Mirovich production of the autobiographical comedy My Mother's Lesbian Jewish Wiccan Wedding, produced and written by husband and wife team David Hein and Irene Shankoff. Irene says that they were happy to hear from Rubinoff about and the bizarre concept just about to everyone didn't sound strange to them, especially since they were living in New York during September 11th, and Hein grew up in the Celtic-influenced music of Newfoundland, which he loved. So
Newfoundland or Newfoundland?
I don't know. Because the accents that they have in the show is like they're very realistic to the people that actually live in Gander.
Yeah, I hate to break this to you, Esme. We're British. We say Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
You have such a weird inflection on that.
Who, me?
It's so endearing. Yeah, it's so endearing.
Thank you.
Anyways,
they would then go to Gander. So the writers would go to Gander and spend 3 weeks interviewing all the key players, and it was during the 10th anniversary that they went to Gander, and so all of like the plain people and the locals were there, so it was like the perfect time to go.
The finale?
Yeah, which would eventually become the finale of the show. They spent hours talking to people, heard hundreds of amazing stories, and they experienced the same kind of hospitality that the people at the plains did. Reg Wright, the president of the airport, said, "You're doing a musical about people giving out showers and sandwiches. This isn't gonna work." Everyone's basically like, this is so weird and like kind of nothing. This isn't gonna work.
I do kind of get that though, because if I was like, I'm gonna write a musical about this major historic, like probably the most historic event so far at the time
Mm.
of the 21st century, which
Mm-hmm.
happened like a year in, by the way.
Yeah.
Crazy. And it's not going to be about anything that happened ground zero. It's not going to be like
It's going to be really far
if,
removed from the actual event to the
yeah, because
point
like
where
if
we
I'm
don't even say exactly what happens. We never explain it.
I love that. That's such a fun. It's not fun. But that's
When
an
we get
interesting
into our
aspect to me.
thoughts, I have so much to say about
Oh
that.
yeah. So I was gonna like if I was like I'm writing a musical for Broadway in New York about 9/11 that happened in New York.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it'd be about like heroic firefighters, or it'd be
Mm-hmm.
like a tragedy. Like even if I
Yeah.
wanted to include the hope aspect, I feel like it would be right. Like it would be the finale. Like the whole
Yeah.
thing would be a tragedy, and then you get hope. That makes sense in my head.
Mm-hmm.
If I was pitching a show for New York
See, at the
where this
time, they
happened,
didn't think
and
that
I
this
was
was
like,
ever gonna.
this is gonna be set in Gander. And if anyone asks, where's Gander?
They never like thought that this would go to New York because what I found out when I was researching for this, only 8 Broadway shows have come from Canada, including Come From Away. I feel like that is like
No, but I did get that they didn't think it would go to Broadway. But I feel like unless you're fucking Andrew Lloyd Webber or someone,
yeah,
you don't really think your show is gonna go to Broadway.
yeah.
And it seems like such a prestigious thing.
Yeah.
But again, even with that in mind, I still don't it
Yeah.
definitely wouldn't be my first thought of
No,
like
exactly.
a 9/11 musical.
No,
I
exactly.
feel really bad calling it just a 9/11 musical because it is a lot more than that.
It is so
But
like
at its base,
we will like it. Yeah, I mean, there's so much to talk about just based on that. Like, and I think that we'll talk about that in a moment. Come From Away would be the first musical developed at Sheridan's Musical Theatre Project. The cast was initially made up from students, and the first one of the show was only 14 minutes where students stood on stage and were reading music from music stands. In 2013, Godspeed Musicals in Connecticut showcased it in their workshop program, while the National Alliance of Musical Theatre in New York selected it for their showcase presentation. They were worried about how Americans would react to it because for Americans, obviously, it's so much more personal.
again, it's everything we've just said.
Yeah, but
That's the thing I think actually. That's made me realize that when you think of like telling stories about 9/11,
yeah,
the main thing is always like Americanism. Like
yes,
these
yeah,
American heroes, like the New York Fire Department, these people on Ground Zero who are helping out,
yeah,
all that, like the American people. To
yeah,
then base an entire musical out of the country where the
yeah,
main focus is not even just on America, like there's a British guy in there.
yeah,
There's a ton of like people from different nationalities,
um,
and the main one being like Canadian
yeah,
and being like, this is about 9/11. I can understand that might feel a little, even if it wasn't actually weird. Like now I don't think it's weird. It makes
no,
sense to me because Come From Away is a fully developed thing.
yeah,
But if you were pitching it to me,
yeah,
I'd be like, that might be an issue.
yeah. So, yeah. However, they had an even stronger connection to it, obviously, because it was a lot more personal to them. At that point, Dog Productions, the producing team behind Memphis, would join the production, and it would then have runs at the La Jolla Playhouse, the Seattle Repertory Theatre in 2015, and then it would play the Ford Theatre in Washington, D.C., and then it would go back to Gander and meet the cast, and the cast members would meet their real life counterparts before it went. Then it would play to Toronto, and then it would go to Broadway. So this show has had a long ass life before it got to the point where it was on Broadway, which I think shows because it is such a not difficult but complex. Yes, such a complex subject matter handled so gracefully.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Regardless of how they did it, huh?
Yeah, no, continue.
Regardless of how they did it,
Yeah.
there was always going to be, or at least you could always expect some sort of backlash.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was always. I'm saying this like I know for a fact that people said this. I don't actually. I'm assuming there was some form of this where people were like, oh, it's disrespectful.
It's hard to
Making a comedy out of this tragedy.
it's hard to explain to people like what Come From Away is, because it's like, so you start with 9/11, and everyone's a bit like, why is there a musical that when you're pitching it starts with 9/11?
I feel like this is the problem, that so many people are like making up these controversies about it.
Yeah.
Like so many people are opposed to it. When really I can't think of like a real example of someone being like, this show is bad because it doesn't handle 9/11 respectfully. Because it does, like everything it does is fine.
Mm-hmm.
The pitch, yeah, you can say the pitch would be weird.
Yeah.
That's with every fucking musical. Like if I was like,
You about to talk about Phantom?
I really was, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should pick a different one. If I was like, this is a little spoiler for maybe something happening later. If I was like, here's a musical based on a like 20th century animated film, not a Disney film,
Oh, I thought
this
you were about to say
random
something
film.
else.
No, no.
Thought you were about to spoil the end of the episode.
About the
We
lost
also talk about how
Grand Duchess Anastasia from Russia.
the real life person who, and then it's also going to talk about communism in this very strange
About
way.
communism. We've replaced the character that was Rasputin in the original movie with someone named Gleb,
Who's a communist
who's a communist.
and
Whose father
father
killed the Romanovs.
Romanovs, and like talk about it so historically inaccurate.
And it's going to be a princess musical.
Yeah.
It's going to be a light, like very beautiful musical. Are you fucking insane?
Yeah.
Anastasia will work. Anastasia's a good musical. We're doing Anastasia soon.
We're doing not next week. I thought you were about to spoil
Wink, wink.
I thought you were about to spoil next week's one because we talk about how weird of a premise it is all the time.
Okay, you can keep this in. We literally talked about our plans for the next year. Yes.
You want me to get up our content calendar?
No, I looked. That was horrifically spelled.
Yep. So yeah. And also I like the fact that Gander got to see it before Broadway did.
Yeah, it is a very, I don't know if personal's the right word.
I mean, it is. It's literal, actual people being portrayed on the screen. On the stage, sorry.
I think it's obviously those people are going to really relate to it. I feel like people who were alive during 9/11. We weren't, by the way.
We weren't, no.
I feel like you get a stronger, like my dad really loves Come From Away.
My mum
I won't say more than that just yet.
My mum loves Come From Away, and well, my mum works in the airline industry. And when we went to go see it, they have like all of the flight numbers and all of like and like where they were coming going from on a map, and she was able to like look at them and go like, that one was going there. That one is actually hosted by this airline because of this code. And so when they were just like listing off like plane procedures, she was like, this is so good. This is such great entertainment. And I was like, this is kind of psychotic for you to be as into this.
It's like this might sound bad. I get this from my dad. I'm really into tragedies.
You are, yeah.
I was telling Esme the other day, I've been watching a ton of like tornado videos about like EF5s and stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out anyone who knows what that is.
And you were like, are you watching tornado videos? I was like, no.
You've been into tornado videos too recently?
Like,
what the fuck are you talking about? But I have this video that I actually, enjoy is the wrong word.
Find
really interesting to watch. Yeah. Which is a 4-hour long, real-time synced replica rerun. That's the wrong
reenactment
of 9. It's so the thing is, it's not, because it's taking the real news that was on that day. So it's real news reports, like the real ads that were playing in between these broadcasts.
Yeah.
Alongside videos that were taken, timeline, a map, all that stuff of 9/11 as it unfolded.
Yeah.
It's called like 9/11 as it happened or something.
Yeah.
It's like 4 hours long, and it's such an interesting watch because obviously I was not alive. I have no idea what happened.
No.
But you watch it and you're like, Jesus, because terrorist attacks happen all the time. I've been alive for a ton of terrorist attacks. A ton.
I'm like,
mentioned what city we grew up in. Yes, we have.
We mentioned, yes. I mean,
Yeah,
the
we grew up
seven.
in London,
We grew up in
so
London.
like it
Seven,
kind of happened in London while I
seven
was there.
bombings.
Yeah,
I
my mum was on the tube for the 7/7 bombing.
that
Yeah,
fucked me up so bad because they once
yeah,
showed us a newsround report of it, and they were like showing us um like train carriages like blown up, and it was like, okay, now you have to like get on the tube.
yeah.
And I was
It
like,
is crazy. But it's
I
like
mean,
we
I
we
mean,
we
like
lived through like the London Bridge attacks,
other
all
like
of that kind of
major
stuff.
tragedies. I'm thinking of like Grenfell and like the way we just like sat around and watched that. Like our school put it on the TVs.
Yeah, I was texting my friends as it happened. Like someone was like, "There's a tower on fire, somewhere in London.
There is a
Perhaps
tower
near
on
to us, perhaps
fire.
not."
There is a
We could
tower.
see the smoke.
Yeah, like that we were. Yeah, like and we talk about Grenfell like all the time in my like subject, and it's like it's actually endlessly fascinating to me because I have such vivid memories of it happening, and it would all like
Yeah,
I know that there is a play about Grenfell that's almost like kind of like Come From Away without the music,
yeah.
and I really want to
Which
see
I
that.
I don't know if it's still on, but I did
It,
really want to go see it when it was, if it is still on.
I think it was at the
It's,
National, so I'm not sure.
it was like at the National like Southwark Playhouse.
Yeah, it was somewhere like
Um,
that.
yeah, I remember like the week after Grenfell, I was going to Westfield with my
Yeah,
mum. We
yeah.
were on the tube, and we just passed it, and the
No,
whole
it's
carriage went silent
yeah.
because it was before the cover was up, so it
It's
like
before
with
like
the
yeah.
so it was just this like black burnt building,
Hmm.
like melting. It was like horrific.
I have
The
like
place we grew up in to Grenfell is maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes on the tube.
yeah,
And it's an insane difference. The
yeah,
thing is, like, I feel that and I lived through that. And it's like in my mind, like I can recall it.
yeah.
But it doesn't affect me that much,
No,
you know? Like I
no.
think about like that was a tragedy, that was something really horrific that happened.
Like I remember
However,
where I
I
was.
can move on.
I remember where I was in a way that people who didn't grow up so close to it can't. You know?
Yeah. And then it's like my parents will be like, I remember exactly what we were doing when 9/11 was unfolding.
Yeah, same.
And I
My
just
parents.
never, this sounds so bad, but I never got why it was that big of a deal. I was like, yeah, it was a terrorist attack. That's horrible. It's a tragedy. But they happen every day. Well, they don't. But they
Like,
happen
thankfully.
pretty commonly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was watching this 4 hour, I sat through the whole thing. I like watched it intently. And as it unfolds, you're like, Jesus Christ, you can understand why.
And I think
Like this
what
mix of 2001 ads versus watching people jump from the towers
so
and being like
one
recorded as they fall.
yeah, well, that's one thing that I think
Horrific.
about like all the time. Spoilers for My Year of Rest and Relaxation.
Oh my god.
But at the end of the book, it is revealed that Reva has unfortunately died, also is presumed dead from 9/11. And it kind of comes out of nowhere. So you're reading this book and it's just this meditation on like this woman sleeping and being a horrible person. And then at one point, her narcissistic best friend, actually, I really like Reva. Reva says, I'm going and working in the Twin Towers. And you're like, oh, they're still like, oh, 9/11 hasn't happened yet. And then you realize it's 2001.
It's
And
like,
then
there's that movie with Robert Pattinson
yeah,
where it's just okay, this sounds weird because again I've literally just said that it doesn't affect me and that I've never really gotten until I watched the video like a year ago.
yeah.
But I don't like this idea of using 9/11 as like a shock factor.
No, I don't think it is in
And, like imagine if you had
My
a
Year of
whole
Rest
movie
and
like I'm
Relaxation.
thinking of this role I don't yeah. Like this Robert Pattinson one, I don't even remember what it's called. But
I
it's
think
like
I
this
know what
whole
you're on
movie and
about.
it's pretty sad. And
Yeah,
then the last scene is it's him looking out a window and then it zooms out the window and he's in one of the Twin Towers.
yeah,
It was already, I think, it was already a pretty sad movie.
yeah,
Like, it's not like you suddenly needed this to really push that it was sad.
yeah,
It's just, for me at least, it's just this kind of numbness. You're like, okay, he's gonna die. Nothing we can do. And I
yeah,
know a lot of people do have the hope that like, maybe he was one of the ones that escaped.
yeah,
But the intent is always he died. And
yeah,
actually Tara.
yeah.
Roll
Um,
credits.
oh God. Anyway, um, Come From
The
Away.
whole point of that conversation.
The whole point of that tangent is you have to be careful about when you implore a major tragedy.
Yeah, like 9/11 was a major tragedy, probably like the major tragedy.
Yeah,
But for the Western world specifically.
but like yeah, the Western world it was changing in ways that we probably haven't seen until COVID.
Yeah, I think Come From Away did it perfectly.
Come From Away is amazing. So, with that being said, it would start performances on the 18th of February 2017, with the official opening date being March 12th, 2017. Reviews. The New York Times said, try if you must. Resist the gale of good that blows for Come From Away. The big bear hug of a musical opened Sunday night at the Gerald Solfield Theatre. But even the most saltward critics may have trouble staying dry-eyed during the portrait of a heroic hospitality under extraordinary pressure. It was also awarded the New York Times Critics' Choice Award. The New York Post had the headline, "This is Justin Trudeau's Hamilton." The New York Post keeping it like this very meaningful musical about like community and coming together in times of tragedy. New York Post are like, Justin Trudeau's Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, it was that time.
It was that time. Yeah.
I do think that's a good thing to note as well. Like, Come From Away definitely did benefit from Hamilton.
I mean, every musical did,
Yeah, but
unless
it's
you're
like this
a
idea
certain
of
couple.
but don't bring that up. I'm still bitter. But this like because it is kind of historical. It was God.
Once something
15
hits
years.
20 years, it is historical. So it was like 5 years away from being historical. Yeah. So by the
I
time
guess
it
that was
closed,
yeah,
it was historical.
yeah. It's like that thing of Hamilton brought in this very young audience of like teenagers, most of whom weren't really like I'm thinking our age,
Or if they were alive, then they didn't remember it.
very
They didn't have
young.
the
Yeah,
visceral reaction that a lot of people do.
which to me makes it more historical. Like if you
Yeah.
asked me if 9/11 was historical, I'd be like, yeah, kind of,
I mean, it
because I
literally
wasn't
is.
there for it. Yeah, now it is.
It literally is.
If you ask me when Come From Away came, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I wasn't there for it, so
Yeah. So but they did say don't let the words 9/11 musical discourage you because the story is treated with the
that's
utmost
our whole original point.
care. It
9/11
is
musical.
yeah, it is not an exploitative show about grief, rather the celebration of sustained hope and optimism during times of unfathomable darkness. The songs inspired by the Providence folksy, borderline Celtic musical twang are alternately exuberant and heartbreaking. A tight cast, especially excellent Astrid Van Wheelan and Jen Kuella? I can't normally say her name. Portray New Yorkers
Lala.
Kuella, yeah, that she's going by her head. Portray worker New Yorkers, Texans, and Newfoundlanders without an ounce of judgment or condensation. Some may suggest that Come From Away is more persistent today than it ever has been, but this musical is timeless. Should the messages of treating everybody decently be limited to the wake of a divisive election? The best stories of real life tragedy shine light on humanity's incredible capacity for goodness and the state in spite of enormous odds. This is one of those stories. And one thing that I just kept reading is like it talking about how Come From Away is amazing right now because of what happened a couple of months before it opened with the election of Trump and how that ushered in an era of hate.
Yeah. It's this weird thing. Like again, I know I literally just said that I view 9/11 as historical. But again, it really is timeless.
Yeah, I think
Like that whole bit, I will admit right now, I have actually never seen Come From Away.
yeah, I mean if you've like
I've listened to it,
if you've
but
listened to it
yeah.
then
I've seen clips and stuff. I get what it is.
yeah.
But that scene about it's in the song, so I know it specifically.
It's basically
When they're
sung
like
through Come From Away.
it pretty much is. It's quite short.
It's a one act.
Yeah, on the phone,
Huh?
I think.
Oh, it's
Because
when they're
they're all
all
talking
oh
and
yeah.
one character is speaking in it might not even be Arabic, but it's a non-English language.
Yes, I know exactly what you're on about.
It's not like very like it's not like detectable to be like French.
Yes.
Someone else does speak French in that scene.
Yeah.
And they immediately start like dogpiling on him.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like I always think that scene is very timeless because
Yeah.
you see that sort of
It's a
shit.
recurring
Yeah,
theme that everyone it's like we're getting so much into like using my political brain today, my school brain today. Be it we were looking at this thing
yeah.
called the issue attention cycle, and it's one of those like issues that constantly is going through it. Just yeah, so
Like this, we say that we've fixed racism or we've
we've
solved
we've
racism
not.
because we're all equal, and then something like this happens, and suddenly we're all terrified of Arabic. I'm like, what are they saying? They're planning another attack.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Like I think the line on in the show is, "Are you telling your friends when to bomb next?" And then some woman goes,
They
"I'm
like
Muslim."
pat each other on the back or something.
Yeah, and then one
It's
Muslim was like, and then one woman is like, "I'm Muslim. I was born in Connecticut." Like in response to that, and then
I'm gonna find the specific bit because
they start fighting. I know exactly what you're on about. It's in
I
the
just remember the music because it's a very slow, kind of quiet song for a bit,
and then it picks
and
up
then
right
there's
after
like
that.
it really picks up. I think during this bit,
Yeah, because the woman literally starts going, "I'm
yeah,
Muslim and I'm from
it's
Connecticut.
not in
Does
that
that
bit.
not make me American?"
It's costume party. It's because
Yes,
phoning home is the interlude where they're all speaking. Costume party is the
I
song.
love Costume
Yeah.
Party.
Okay. I found one bit. It's not actually the bit I was thinking of, but it was it's during costume party as well.
Yeah,
And one of the Newfoundlanders
yeah,
says there's this one man from the Middle East. Well, we don't really know. He hasn't said a word to a soul, and some of the other passengers seem a bit wary of him.
yeah.
And it's when they find him in the kitchen.
Oh yeah, and he's like a renowned chef for a
Yeah,
global hotel chain.
I'm trying to think of what song it is. I don't think. Oh, okay, I know what it is. It's either Prayer, which is sung by his character, I believe.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. There's a whole bit about like Jewish prayers. I know there's a bit about like Christian prayers, and then there's a song "On the Edge," which I believe is a song I'm thinking of.
yes,
I don't think. Okay, the end of Prayer, he has a line
yeah,
where it's like, "I can feel them watching me. Sometimes I catch them when they think I'm not looking."
yeah.
But I'm thinking of a very specific
I
bit where
know
someone
exactly
confronts him.
the part you're talking
I
about.
don't think it's that bit.
Days,
Because then here's the thing, everything after that is happier. Well, not happier, but
more
more
hopeful.
hopeful.
Oh yeah, no, it is on the edge. Are you telling your Muslim friends where to bomb next?
I should have trusted my instincts.
This was
I
not
must
all
have missed
Muslims.
someone.
Go back to where you came from.
Yeah.
I'm an American citizen.
Okay, that's the problem. The On the Edge lyrics
Aren't synced.
are
Wrong.
no, they're from like Darkness and Trees or On the Bus. It's
Yeah,
that old one.
yeah. And like they're so overlapping that they don't show up. So
Okay, it's from On the Edge. That
yeah,
song.
confirmed.
We finally found. We looked for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it took
Um,
time.
I keep doing this. I force Esme to sit in silence for like 20 minutes while I try and find one line from a song.
It's not as bad as when we went through the Tony Award presenting history.
Yeah, for like an hour.
Yeah. So the Huffington Post would say, "No, this is not the show for cynics. Given the story they have to tell and the way they tell it, one imagines it'll be a hard time finding cynics. What looks to be the significant success of this new musical stems from the fact that the most cynical among them is likely to be deeply touched. For Come From Away is about community. In this particular community, everyone's a member." Do you want to do the synopsis?
Yes.
Highlighted
Please.
it.
Following the 9/11 attacks, 38 planes and 6,579 passengers were forced to land in Gander, Newfoundland, doubling the population of one small town on the edge of the world. Based on interviews with locals, Come From Away is about hosting this international community of strangers. Is about how hosting this international community of strangers spurred unexpected camaraderie in extraordinary circumstances.
That's a pretty good
synopsis.
Well done.
I think the thing is with Come From Away is that there is not a plot.
No, it is
in the sense of like there's not really character development. There is, but it's not like
it's such an
The
ensemble
characters
show.
are like this, and then something happens, and then they're like this by the end. Because the thing that technically happens before the show starts.
So the show starts, and the show makes a point of saying, I believe it's one of the first lines that is said. So the show starts with the song.
I can check.
Yeah. It starts with Welcome to the Rock.
It starts at like 7 a.m.
Yeah, so
on September 11th.
In the northeast tip of North America, there's an island called Newfoundland.
I know that island.
Is an airport. So they're telling you everything you need to know. We're in Canada, there's an island, it's a Monday, and I don't even think they explicitly say it's September 11th, 2001. They just expect if you bought...
They do say.
No, they don't in Welcome to the Rock.
It's our first day back in the class. It's our first day back.
It's the first day back. It's the school buses are on strike. Someone's first day being a reporter. Janice, it's her first day being a reporter. But they never say, no, it is September 11th, 2001. Because they make it very obvious. Like, when you physically go and see the show, they make it so obvious when it is set. So, as I said earlier, they had the big board with all of the flight and all of its like paths to and from places.
Yeah, I actually really do want to see Come From Away. Is it still on tour?
It's going on tour. It's not started yet. Yeah.
I want to see Come From Away.
Huh?
All right, we'll go.
I love Come From
We'll
Away.
go to see Come From Away.
I've seen it twice.
I've never seen it.
I saw it once with my mum and then once with a friend, and both times we got ticket upgrades.
Ooh.
And like the first time I saw it was like a couple of days before the Olivier Awards, and like we went to go pick up our tickets from the box office, and they were like, "Do you guys like want an upgrade?" And I was like, "Yes." And my mum was like, "How much is this gonna be?" And the guy was just like, "It's free. The producers just need the seats filled. If you like want them, take it." And I was like, "We're taking the upgrade." But it was so funny the way that like the producers just need these seats filled.
Yeah.
And I think it was because of the Olivier Awards. They had to set aside a certain amount just in case voters came.
Yeah.
And maybe as many did show up that day. But I got a great view for Come From Away both times. And the second time they were just struggling with business after COVID. So they were literally stood and like giving out tickets. And again, my friend was like a bit confused, and the lady was like, "Do you want a free upgrade?" And I was like, "Yeah, what? Are they coming to your city?" Yeah. They make it very...
I was gonna say, the first time it's brought up, it's not really in Welcome to the Rock.
No.
But they say where our story starts, and then it's like what they're doing the second they find out. And then there's the whole... I really like... I
love the moment of "you are here." Like how the second they find out about it, they are like, "I know exactly where I'm going to be stood, and I'm going to be a bit stuck here forever."
Yeah.
I love...
It's such a beautiful... Like, the music is so beautiful in it.
I love that moment of, like, centering... Like, I don't know how to describe it. Planting the story there. Does that make any sense?
We had that whole bit at the beginning where we were like, it seems kind of weird to do a musical about 9/11 in Canada, not in New York.
Yes.
I think that's the whole point of You Are Here. Like, I don't know if it is the first time. No. Later on, at some point when they start doing the You Are Here, what's her name? The woman
Hannah.
whose son is a firefighter. Hannah. Her bit is, "I am here, but I should be there." And
I am here in Canada, and I should be down there at the hospitals.
Yeah.
Hannah is the heart of the musical.
That's the whole thing. It's not like you are here and that's a good thing. It's this thing where, yes, it is good because you've survived this tragedy when you could have been, you were on a plane going to that place.
Yeah.
Going past it. That could have been you.
Yeah.
And so you have that happiness that it wasn't you.
Yeah.
But also that your entire country, specifically for the Americans, because I know not every character in there, in fact, most of them aren't American. I'm saying that roughly, like they all play like 20 different characters. Yeah, that's
what's really interesting about the show is how they do that, if that makes sense.
But this whole thing that your whole country is united in this, like, we were talking about like the American like heroism.
Yeah.
Like this very strong united front.
Yeah.
And then there are people stuck somewhere else who cannot do anything but survive.
Mm-hmm. They were basically stranded. And I mean, also one thing that my mum really enjoyed, this is one of my mum's favorite musicals. She sent me like a clip like a while later, and she talks about going to Gander so she can like go visit the airport.
Mm.
Because she just finds it really interesting. And she sent me a thing about the airport. She just sent it to the family group chat. Was like, guys, I want to go here. She also said that about Dollywood. She discovered what Dollywood was a couple weeks ago.
God, I want to go to
And
Dollywood.
I was like, Mum, how did you know about Dollywood? Anyway.
I actually specifically remember saying this to you like probably years ago now.
Yeah, probably a
And it's when
while.
we were first talking about how they never explicitly mentioned what happened. You
Yeah,
just know.
yeah.
I think we will talk about that because that's a very incredible like aspect of the show.
I think it was a
I was like,
choice and it was the right one.
yeah. But I was gonna say, I didn't see years ago. Come From Away is like the show for physical theatre.
Yes.
I feel like you could do a very good production of Come From Away with no set. And it already has a very minimal set, I know that.
Yeah.
But they have like chairs and stuff. And I was
Yeah.
gonna say, if you had no set and it was when people play something, because the whole thing is about community and holding each other up and coming together.
Yeah.
I think we need a production of Come From Away with a big what oh my god, what was that group called? Assemble?
I think so.
You know the physical theatre we've been told this group so many times in drama GCSE, but there's this group that does like physical theatre very well. I think we need a big ensemble for once. I understand why it's a small ensemble. It works perfectly as a small ensemble.
Yeah.
We need a non-replica tour
Like
that just does
that's the
physical
show
theatre.
from 2017 that I want a non-replica tour of.
Guys, please hear me out on physical theatre and Come From Away. It would be so good.
I mean, I think that's also like a really nice part of Come From Away is it highlights the community aspect of it by keeping the show very small and having everyone be involved in every number. And even
Yeah.
the band are on stage. And during
Yeah.
Screeching, the band like interact with the people, and that's the only part where you're allowed to applause. So the show never lets you applause until you get to Screeching, and then you're allowed to like clap.
I think this is sorry, I'm still on the physical theatre
No,
thing.
go ahead.
But just imagine, okay, hear me out.
Our old drama
Big
teacher would have a
ensemble.
heyday over this.
I hope she listens to this.
Shout out to her.
I'm not gonna say her name.
Not gonna say her
Shout out
name.
to her.
Shout out, one shout out to her
Okay.
and two, Miss, get a load of this show.
Big ensemble.
Yeah,
We get all of the female ensemble members,
yeah.
or specifically for Me and the Sky.
Oh, I love that
That
song.
whole bit when she's talking about like her whole female crew and like flying with them,
Yeah.
they pick her up so
Ooh.
that she's like sat on their shoulders while
Yeah,
they're making a plane like structure around her. They
yeah.
stay like that until they find out about the attack, and
Yes.
then it crumbles.
Because that's as
All of the
explicit
male
as
ensemble and all the other male characters can be around. Like, I don't want them off stage because I really like having everyone on stage.
yeah,
But like specifically having an entire female like cast
yeah.
do Me and the Sky. Because it's not just I forget her name, like the character's name.
Beverly Bass.
I'm really bad at characters within Come From Away.
Well,
I know like
because
Beulah,
like
and that's kind
yeah,
of it.
because like you're not meant to be amazing at the characters' names from Come From Away because it's not that important.
Yeah, but like
Like
Captain Bass.
in the best way possible, it's not that important because you're meant to think about them as a whole.
I think it's meant to be very applicable to yourself.
Yeah,
Like it's not that you should have lived through 9/11 and you see your experience in this, but it's that there has been some point in everyone's life where you had to rely on a community.
yeah.
And I think you're meant to see that and Come From Away, albeit through a more extreme angle. But please do a physical theatre production. I want this all woman Me and the Sky. I want this because Me and the Sky is the most like forward part about it when they're like a plane crashed
Like,
into
and the
a
one
building
thing I loved more than
on
anything
purpose.
as a bomb, and it like
The way
it
her voice breaks.
stops
Imagine
the show.
instead of her voice breaking,
Yeah,
it breaks because she's dropped from a pyramid. Of all females who held her up
Sorry.
and let her fly,
sorry,
and it breaks.
sorry. That's not funny. It's a very good point, but I was thinking about Amelia Miller.
Jeez.
We're not allowed to talk about Emily at the moment.
Not right now.
However,
I want a physical theatre. Like when we were doing drama, I hated physical theatre. Like it's my worst enemy to actually do.
horrific.
But when you see other people do it, it's so
It's
incredible. And I want a
so like
physical theatre come from away.
that's what I want. Like I want small groups. Not when I say small, I mean like not got as much money, because that's how this show started. I mean, if you look at a photo of the original playbill from this production, it has about 20 different producers listed.
Yeah.
I want to see smaller or regional theatres, like community theatres. I want to see them do this show.
I think that's like, it's the one show that I think translates really well into community theatre because it's about community.
Yeah,
and like those small moments.
The one thing I'm like, oh, that might be a bit hard, is the accent, because it is so specific.
It's so what?
I know I said it wrong. It's been a long day, guys.
But,
Had a lot of caffeine.
But yeah, I get what you mean. It's one of those shows. It's like, yeah, with like Six and Matilda, I get annoyed when they don't do a British accent because they're British shows and they're about like British characters. I get annoyed, but ultimately, it's not the end of the world. It's the same with like Jamie. You could theoretically do Jamie in an American accent. I would hate it, and I would like despise it.
Die if they did that. Like,
yeah,
sorry, don't fucking do Jamie.
It's not gonna significantly change the plot.
No, I mean, also Americans are like, where the fuck is Sheffield? To all American listeners, not you guys.
We know you're smart.
We know you guys are smart.
Everyone else.
If we're rude about Americans, we're not talking about you guys listening to this podcast.
I love you guys so much. We forgot to talk about.
Oh my god, guys! The big piece of news
Andrew Reynolds
on Pop Base.
It's incredible,
but horrific.
And then they cropped him out.
Everyone's cropping him out and like completely ignoring the fact that how we got the photo and all of this other stuff. They're just like, they're Instagram official, and it's like, no, Andrew Reynolds.
Like, every single report was like, Ethan Slater and Ariana Grande seen at a theatre in New York. Like, you could name the theatre.
They're at Gutenberg,
you know,
starring Andrew Reynolds and Josh Gad.
Musical.
And like the thing about
that, Patti LuPone was there.
Yeah, everyone's going Gutenberg.
She plays the producer.
Oh, I want to watch that clip so bad.
I know that I fucking love Dylan Mulvaney.
Dylan Mulvaney as the producer was so fun.
Who else can play that? I saw some interesting ones.
There was someone who was the producer who was like, I can't believe we weren't there. It wasn't Dylan Mulvaney. Well, Dylan Mulvaney, I was like, I can't believe we weren't there.
What if Jeremy Jordan does it and we're not there?
I don't think Jeremy. The thing with Jeremy,
really want to see Gutenberg.
The thing with Jeremy is that
it's as a joke, but we really want to see Gutenberg.
The thing with Jeremy is that he's A-list to us, but no one else except the people of us and the people of Utah.
I'm gonna go and look at my top likes because I know I have like some of these saved.
Yeah, Andrew Reynolds pop based.
That's why Patti LuPone kept being on the subway. She was rehearsing her lines for Gutenberg.
I love Patti LuPone on her subway. We were joking yesterday that if we ever go to New York, we're gonna have to just sit on the subway and like eventually Patti LuPone will appear.
I mean, we're gonna go on the subway anyway. We have to get around.
Yeah, the subway is
around New York. So.
When I was there last, I only went on it like 3 times. Twice just to the airport.
We don't have the money for Uber.
We didn't take an Uber.
Just walk everywhere.
Yeah.
We're gonna stand out as tourists so much.
Yeah. But I walk fast because I think that tourists that don't walk fast. Like, here's the thing. I don't care if I can tell you're a tourist. Like, tourism brings in so much money to London. I do care if you walk slow.
Honestly, fair. So I was still looking for who else was.
Sarah Bareilles was at Gutenberg.
I do remember that.
That was like sad.
Really played the Gutenberg producer. I love Come From Away. I'll just ad lib this bit.
I love Come From Away. And I also think that the way of the way that they describe there was one aisle in the middle, everyone knew every inch of the plane, because they can say we were on a plane for 28 hours and you can be like, yeah, that's annoying. But then they go in detail and they're like, there were children like sleeping in the middle. No one knew what was going on because there was obviously a massive security risk.
Yeah.
And I think that's why my mum found it so interesting, is because she was like, oh my god, I literally this is my worst nightmare for so many reasons.
Yeah. I
because
think
she knows all the checks and balances in place.
I'm thinking of your mum.
Mm.
Shout out to her, by the way. I love your
She
mum.
might actually be listening to this one because like
I love your dad
sometimes
too. I know he's listening.
I don't know if he's been listening recently. He's been a bit busy. Sometimes I'll tell her what musical we're doing, and she's like, "I don't like that one." Like when we did Into the Woods, she was like, "Don't like that one." But this one, I haven't told her yet, but she was
She's
like,
gonna love it.
"Oh, I like that one."
I was like, you know that bit at the end when she like reunites with her family and like
Yeah,
all of that stuff?
yeah,
And the bit at the end when Captain Bass is walking through the airport and is like thanking people. You
yeah,
can imagine your mum really liked that bit. I
yeah.
imagine that was her.
Thanking people, although she'd probably be like, "Never thank the customers."
Customers are always wrong. They're probably gonna ask for extra luggage because there's no one else on their damn flight.
Joking, my mum's very good at her job. It's like scary how good.
She switched our seats on a school trip that we had to fly for. That makes us sound very posh. It was
We
a
went
pretty
on
posh
one
school trip.
flying school trip ever, and that was it. And
Yeah,
they didn't run it again for like 5 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, update, I found Leslie Odom Jr. was one of the producers.
Oh,
Like,
that was it.
Jonathan Groff as well.
Yeah, I love Jonathan Groff at the moment.
Emily Ashford.
I love Annie Ashford, but I hate her British accent.
Apparently Ben Platt did it,
Benny
which I did not
boy.
know. I did not know. Okay, there's a post it called I'm on fucking Reddit. I'm
Oh
looking at
God,
I'm
I
remembering a ton more. This is kind of crazy. Do you want to hear these?
yeah
This is an
yeah
interesting one.
okay
On the 12th of November,
okay.
Ethan Slater plays the producer.
Ariana is arguably the biggest star. So interesting that she didn't
Yeah,
do it.
but okay, if you that's a Gutenberg, the whole marketing ploy of Gutenberg is that it's Andrew Reynolds and Josh Gad. There's no other marketing. It's Andrew Reynolds and Josh Gad. And people are going.
Yeah.
So if that happened and I had the choice between seeing Ethan Slater as the producer
Or
and
Ariana,
Ariana, I'm gonna pick Ethan Slater.
because it's just funnier.
It's incredible. Anyways, back to this tragedy.
I mean, the most explicit they ever get is either the one thing I love more than anything was using the bomb, or the when they have the president come on and give an address.
I would say the ending when they go back when they land.
Yes.
It's like I go because someone's like I go down to ground zero and it's still smoking.
Yeah, yeah, I love that moment. I love how they can make you picture things so vividly and viscerally without showing them ever.
Yeah.
I mean,
we need a physical theatre production because the kind of things you could do.
yeah, I think it could be really cool.
Okay, imagine this. You can either have them like creating things. That sounds weird. But, like they can be furniture, they can be like backdrops. Like I was saying, I don't think they should do this anymore because I do really like them never showing or never explicitly at least showing 9/11.
Yeah.
But I do think you could do something very impactful with physical theatre, like showing the two towers collapsing.
I don't know. I kind of do like it being almost because it feels very distant to them until that moment, until they land back in the US.
And so I think that's the thing. If you have the whole time they're in Newfoundland,
yeah,
you have these like physical theatre. What is the word? Actors, I suppose.
yeah.
Because I'm okay. I want to make this clear. I'm specifically talking about groups. I need to find out what the name of this fucking group is because they're like specifically who I'm thinking of.
Do you want to know something unhinged but kind of unrelated, but related to Come From Away?
Yeah.
I went through a phase of listening to it as I was landing back in the UK after being on away for a bit.
Oh yeah, I love listening to it in headphones.
I love listening to it on a plane.
It's such a beautiful soundtrack.
Not because of like the whole plane aspect, but because of how it talks about like home and like coming and going from places.
Yeah.
And also because it is just such a great soundtrack to listen to from start to finish. I had to stop because it was freaking me out too much when I was landing during a really bad storm.
Yeah.
It's because of like and being home. Are we ready to move on, or are you?
Yeah. Okay, the group I was thinking of was Frantic Assembly,
Yes.
like specifically. And I think they are like actors as well.
Mm.
But they're specific. So I didn't actually realize this until just now. they're the ones that did all of the physical theatre in Curious Incident, like when we saw it for school.
I love Curious Incident. It was
I'm
actually
pretty sure
so
that was
good.
them. It was
We
really good.
saw
Um,
2 shows for GCSE drama. One of them is Curious
we
Incident.
we were very lucky to live in London and be able to do that.
We should have seen some more.
Oh,
In like
we were meant to see another one, and then a little pandemic
a
happened.
little thing called the pandemic happened. We were literally meant to see it the week everything got cancelled.
Yeah,
We also saw
which is
Blood
cutting
Brothers.
it pretty close.
Yeah. We also saw Blood Brothers. If any Americans, if you ever want to get deep into the UK in class, listen to Blood Brothers.
Willie Russell's Blood Brothers. It's so good.
There is a
We are going
recording
to talk about it. I'm
at
like,
some point.
we have to talk about it. There was a Broadway production of it.
There was Kerry Butler made her Broadway debut in it.
Yeah, but it's very
British.
common. Yeah, in Britain. Like,
Yeah.
there's always a production of it.
So like how Americans like, what's a really American play?
Well, first of all, Blood Brothers isn't a play, so don't like that. It's probably like Death of a Salesman.
Yeah, like it's our like Death of a Salesman, so like that thing that everyone studies or does.
Yeah. But yeah, about Frantic Assembly, I'm thinking of them specifically.
Yeah.
Because they do very emotional ones, I've found.
Yeah.
And I think, Frantic Assembly, please reach out, because I'd love to
Talk.
get you in on this.
Yeah.
I just think that there's so much you can do with Comfort Away. Like,
Yeah.
we could sit here for hours and be like, we could do a production with physical theatre. We could do a production where we have like a ton of people on stage and they never move. They just stare forward for the entire production, and no one ever acknowledges them until the end. I just came up with that on the spot. That's a banging idea, actually.
It would be like in Oklahoma.
Down.
It'd be like in Oklahoma how often they're all just sat around like on stage just staring at each other because there's nothing else to do. Because that's also a key theme in Come From Away. It's like boredom. Yeah. It's like there's this massive worldwide event happening and we literally cannot do anything. And we are so bored.
Yeah.
And you know, I could be dead, but right now I'm bored.
And I think again that's why I feel like Come
From
Away had somewhat of a resurgence.
That was the pandemic. That was what the pandemic was. I could be dead right now, but I am really bored.
But instead I'm just bored.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw out some more Come From Away ideas we could do. So physical theatre, just having like people on stage who don't do anything until the end.
Yeah.
Which would be a rough role to play, by the way.
Yeah.
But it would be very interesting.
Yeah.
I think you could play around with what type of theatre, like a production in the round.
Oh, I'd kill.
Or what was the one that we studied a lot that we never did? Like the promenade.
Promenade?
One. The one where you walk between places.
Location. It's got a name. Those guys who did.
They joked about
it. They were like, oh, come on, guys. And they were like, no, we actually have nothing left. This was meant to end 20 minutes ago.
There's a way it's drawn that I don't think it's how it's ever actually done. But like, imagine if you had 3 or 4 mini stages. Like it's still big enough to perform on, but smaller. They're all like in the round.
Yeah, it's done with like Shakespeare a lot.
Yeah. But so like they just walk between them. I feel like that could be really fun. I don't know how you decide when they walk, but I think it could be really fun to play with.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like you can play like it does work very well in the traditional sense of how it's usually done, which is just in a traditional theatre.
I like the set.
Well, not traditional. Yeah.
That they have because they have like tree trunks on either side of the wings, and that almost brings you into the nature aspect of it because again, Newfoundland and Gander are so isolated from the rest of like the world basically, so you are kind of in the wilderness, and I like the fact that they only really ever have chairs on stage. Sometimes there's like a coffee shop, sometimes there's a bar, but I like the fact that it's mostly just people in chairs and there's a revolve.
They have like carry props, I remember. Not carry like the musical, but props they carry on.
Yes, yeah. So
I was gonna say it could be very interesting to do like a mega music production, but I don't know how you'd go about it because I think the minimalist works so much better.
Yeah, And I
I'd
think
love to see how a mega musical production of Come From Away would work.
someone
It
phone
could be
Cameron
so
McIntosh.
incredible. No, don't.
Never phone him.
But like, I feel like
Just kidding.
if we
Actually,
talked about this for another few hours, we could figure out a way to do a mega musical of Come From Away.
Yeah.
I think the big problem with saying all of this, like all of these ideas, I'd love to see. I think it'd be so incredible, but none of it would be as impactful
As what they
as
currently have.
as just
Because
what it is.
one moment that I really do love in the staging is during Stop the World, when Diane and the Texan and the Englishman are on a date,
Yeah,
and they're like, and the revolve's going, and they're walking from chair to chair, and they just have like a cast member like replacing the chair, and it just
yeah.
happens so seamlessly. It's amazing.
I'd like to see more done with the revolve as well.
The revolve is used well. Like, it's not, sometimes with shows nowadays, it's like, do we need a revolve?
Have you seen that guy on TikTok? He does just shows a thing. Yeah, he's great.
He's great guy.
He really makes me like, because I am definitely one of those people who's like, this show can use a revolve. I do genuinely think, like, listen, imagine Phantom with a revolve. Hear me out on this.
Yeah, but you're
Phantom
always
with a
up for
revolve.
scaling up production values. If a
Could you
Phantom.
imagine? Phantom with a revolve would be incredible. I don't know how they'd use it. I feel like they should just use it. Maybe there should be like another show where we'll just add set pieces to Phantom. They'll use it once for the show, never again. Anyways,
Shall we move on?
I was gonna say, like, I feel like you could make something out of the revolve, like have it mean something, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like this whole idea of being stuck somewhere,
Yeah.
where you're safe but you're bored and you're stressed and you can't do anything while this historic event is going on.
Yeah.
I feel like how a revolve works could really play into that. And they do use it that way to some extent because it's literally you are moving while stuck in place. That's how a revolve works.
Yeah.
But I feel like you could do so much more with it.
Yeah.
What's that show? I might be making this up, but I have some vague memory of a show that has two revolves where they have like an inner circle that spins one way and then a bigger circle outside that spins the other way. I might be making that up.
No, I think it might be Hadestown.
Oh my god, is it? Does Hadestown have two revolves?
Yeah, I think they do, because in that fucking Wait For Me clip.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I might be thinking of.
I don't know what else you know about the Hadestown set other than the Wait For Me clip.
Very little, I'm being completely honest.
But I said earlier that Come From Away was the 8th Canadian original musical. It's actually the 5th. Sorry, my bad. The last one being... Guys, I have sources for all of the facts I say.
It is because spoilers for Hadestown in case anyone hasn't seen it.
The fucking Greek mythology thing that they tell you how it ends at the start.
As most things do. But specifically the revolve, I am thinking of the Hadestown one because the middle bit goes down. Down to Hadestown. Way down to Hadestown.
That's the only lyric no knows.
Actually, no, I know Wait For Me because everyone fucking sung it.
Yeah.
In like 2019.
Including Trisha Paytas.
Okay, and Jordan Fisher.
We are gonna probably do an Hadestown episode at some point. Not next week.
We want to see it.
We're gonna see it.
As we said, the cast was just announced, so we really want to go see it.
We're gonna go see it, and then we're gonna talk about it because that's what we do.
But that's what I'm thinking. Like, I think we should just make bigger stages so we can just put more and more revolves on stage and just see what happens. Like, how many revolves could you get on a stage? Here's the thing: people are like, we should just put a revolve on a stage for fun, and that's fun. And I would love it. I do think we need more revolve. But you need to
bring back the Les Mis revolve.
Savvy, what does the revolve symbolize?
Just good times, man.
Like, listen, I'm back on Phantom.
You never left.
On the revolve. She's constantly stuck in this cycle.
Yeah.
Just oh my god, you know, Wandering Child Esme, the bit after Wishing, my favorite song.
Sorry.
When it's all three of them.
Just imagine,
or like Final Air, when the two men that she's got the ridiculous men she's got to pick for choose. Well, they're saying, imagine her stuck going round and round on this revolve and she can't do anything. Angie tries to step off, she steps onto another revolve that goes the opposite way. Think of the symbolism, Esme.
Wow, you are just um
I do genuinely think we need more revolves in theatre. They're so much fun. We need to do more. We need to just start tearing out stages of like historic theatres and putting revolves in.
No, I think it's really easy to put in a revolve. So I have a friend who goes to private school and they put in a revolve for her play.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah.
Imagine when we did Fave if we had a revolve.
I was meant to go see her in Anything Goes this week. She's playing Reno and I couldn't because I'm so busy. Shout out to Zara.
Okay, I think this is a problem with us talking about Come From Away.
We
will talk about it for hours.
Yeah,
but we're not saying anything. We're just like, I love this show. They could do this, however, the current production is perfect. But they could do this.
It wasn't
but
like
the current production
Dear Evan Hansen where we were like, kill it all, rip it out. I hate it all.
Don't bring up Evan Hansen. I'm in the mood.
We're about to.
Oh god, yeah. I told you about how I will say this on the podcast actually, because I'm willing to put it out there. I fucking hate Anne Juliet. I don't know if I said that yet.
You mentioned how you dislike it, yeah.
I genuinely, it's not that I dislike it, it's that I genuinely despise it.
Right, yeah.
I was talking
they have a revolve.
Like, well, that's just not worth it. Julia is stuck in this scenario. Write her out. That's your plot. That is your plot. So you could write her out and then you put her back into the exact same. Sorry, I'm going to get into this too much. I don't want to. Because literally, I was talking to my friend and I offhandedly mentioned that I hate Anne Juliet. They're like, why? And I was like, we can't talk about this right now. We can't talk about this right now. Because I will talk for an hour.
Yeah. So it cost $12 million of initial investment to put on with a weekly operating cost of $600,000. And according to what do you mean? Like operating cost?
Yeah.
So like paying everyone that works in the theatre, paying the landlord.
I understand like the paying rent and paying like salaries.
Yeah.
It's like 600,000 is not significantly less than like how much Phantom cost to put on. And I understand why Phantom cost as much as it did. Because there's a lot going on in Phantom.
And like
what is happening in Come From Away?
I think like the rent of the theatre probably costs quite a lot.
Yeah, I might be like misremembering. It wasn't a massive theatre.
No, it wasn't. But like any Broadway theatre is going to cost a bit.
But the idea with that is generally so that you can make a profit.
Yeah. So I mean, I have here.
You're not going to rent out a theatre that you know you'll never fill up. Some people do, apparently. But you're not going to rent a theatre that you know you're never going to fill the seats for.
Yeah.
Because you're always going to be at a loss.
Yeah.
Whereas Come From Away was selling seats. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that they were selling seats.
Yeah.
So why was it so? Sorry, I'm not very good at economics, so I don't.
Yeah, guys, we don't know economics.
Why don't we just print more?
Print more money, guys. Yeah. So according to the Globe and Mail, Hine and Shankoff share of the box office cut to be as much as $100,000 in a really great week.
I don't say it's often, but kind of deserved.
No,
they did do a very good job.
They are the only writers, and they are the writers of this show. This show is like their child.
It's like there's some shows I'm like, you're earning a bit much for what you did.
Yeah. In 2017, it would be nominated for some Tony Awards. It got 7 nominations. All deserved.
I don't say that very often about the 2017 Tony Awards.
No, but we are going to be saying that word today and maybe next week. Who knows? So I combed through all the predictions. So like, you know how all the big publications like put out predictions about what they think should win and will win.
Yeah. I
combed through all of them. So the Hollywood Reporter said that the general sentiment for Best Musical is that it's too close to call, but it is between Dear Evan Hansen and Come From Away.
Well, one of them's a clear winner.
It's not the one that won. The Hollywood Reporter
Yeah.
also stated that Jen Coella could win for Best Featured Actress because she I believe was one of the only cast members nominated for the featured role, which makes sense because it
You
is
have to
that
admit,
show.
like when you think "Come From Away," like the individual songs, it is Me and Sky.
Me in the Sky is often the way that a lot of people find out about the show because it's more approachable.
I fucking love that song. I sing that
It's a
song
great
all
song.
the time.
Great song. Variety said, in a year full of tough calls, this might be the toughest about Best Musical. Come From Away, the spring surprise challenger to the season-long frontrunner David Hansen. No, wrong. Has become a sentimental favourite and is expected to play well on the road. With no truly dominant candidate this season, voters may spread the wealth. One may go the way to the top award for Come From Away, but there's reason to suspect that the talk of the Dear Evan Hansen backlash is somewhat overstated. Yeah, no, people should have been rioting in the streets and they weren't.
It's just
The show's momentum is likely to carry across the finish line. However, the outcome of the new musicals race. Dear Evan Hansen's locking the awards for score. What? And the book. Whatever. But Cruella has been working the campaign trail and she's got a standard role in Come From Away as a pioneering pilot.
thing is, like theoretically, I'm using this word strongly here.
Yeah.
The like plot and the themes of Come From Away and Dear Evan Hansen should be very similar.
Oh, yeah.
The idea of like community. You are not alone. You are
Coming
here.
together in moments of tragedy.
Yeah. However, one of them is about, you know, being brave in the face of a literal, like, the defining terrorist attack of seemingly the century. We haven't
Yeah.
really had one that's hit us as hard as that one.
No.
And, like, you know, doing your best to find a community, to stay strong, to recover as much as you can. And this is a sentiment that goes for all Americans, you know?
Yeah.
9/11 is still very raw for them in some
Yeah.
senses.
Yeah.
The other one is about a guy whose classmate that he doesn't know kills himself, and he decides to profit off that.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, it could go either way. They're both equally as important.
And also, like, if you think about it in any sense of the word, David Hansen is not doing anything revolutionary, whereas I would argue that all of the other Best Musical candidates were doing something revolutionary.
Yeah, like, there's some aspect of the idea of, oh, well, they all had, like, these very tiny casts.
Yeah.
And they all had, like, minimal sets. I don't know if you could say that about
No.
David Hansen, because I had
No,
bed
and also if we're talking about, wait, when you
screen.
say they all, are you just talking about Come From Away and Dear Evan Hansen, or are you talking about the other two as well?
I was
Right.
initially talking about all of them, but I'm definitely realizing that I'm mainly talking about this Come From Away, Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah, I was about to say when you said minimal sets, I was like, great comment. And actually, Groundhog Day.
This is the thing I don't get. The set we saw in Broadway is definitely different.
Yeah, no, it's different. Yeah, they had a
Broadway.
revolving Groundhog Day when originally.
Holy Groundhog Day! That's perfect because again, it's stuck in one place, can't move, while everything moves around him. Perfect. However, I would have loved a revolve in our
Anyway,
Groundhog Day.
so I would argue that all three other Best Musical candidates were doing something revolutionary, and then there was Dear Evan Hansen.
It's not even like, oh, looking back, it's not revolutionary because we've had so much like it. So, yeah, there hasn't really been another musical like Come From Away.
No.
But there have been a ton of like contemporary musicals like Dear Evan Hansen.
About teenagers.
But it's even at the time.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of a name off the top of my head.
For what?
Like just another like contemporary pop musical.
I don't know. Mean Girls, The Prom.
But see, those are all like post 20s. Like, this is gonna sound so bad, and I really do apologize.
Anastasia. No.
Anastasia is more classical than pop.
Classical than pop, yeah.
I was gonna say that Legally Blonde is a pop musical.
Yeah, 100%.
It's iconic, it's contemporary, it's modern, you know, it's all of that stuff. And it has a good plot. It's just an added bonus for the point I'm making. And there was nothing like David Hansen was writing these songs that were modern and poppy, but
Yeah.
sentimental.
Huh.
Theoretically, they're sentimental.
No, they're not.
Go and listen to Legally Blonde, like the song Legally Blonde. Go and listen to the song Chip on My Shoulder. Go and
Oh.
listen to the song So Much Better.
When she goes, some girls fight hard, some face the trial, some girls were just meant to
Just meant to
smile, and the music
smile.
stops. It is better than anything David Hansen has
Is
ever
that
done.
not just
Whole
and
entire
Word
life.
Fail just copied that?
Where would we be about Legally Blonde? Basically, that's what we were trying to say
Like,
all of last episode.
Yeah, I fucking love Legally Blonde. But yeah, David Hansen's done nothing. It shouldn't have won. This isn't just because I hate David Hansen, but that's definitely part of it.
But like looking at the batch of shows, they were all doing something, and Darren Hanson was doing nothing.
It's okay. There are awards, the 2017 Tony Awards, that I do think David Hansen should have won.
Rachel Bay Jones for Best Supporting Actress.
Definitely
Fine.
A ton of Best
Cool.
Supporting Actors.
Happy.
I would even, and there are basically there's someone from every single other show that I would have preferred to got this.
Yeah.
But I don't even mind Ben Platt with Best Leading Actor.
No, like I will acknowledge
you know what, he
Ben
did
Platt
a good job.
Did a good job and was allegedly having a mental breakdown on stage every night. So go Ben Platt. Should be rewarded.
I could see like Best Lighting.
Yes. Actually, no.
This is the thing I'm saying. There like me saying something like Best Leading Actor or Best Lighting. Or even like Best Supporting Actress. There are of the other shows that were nominated, or even just the ones that were in that season, there are ones that I think would have been better.
Yeah.
But knowing what David Hansen was, and what it still kind of is to this day, it had to win something. And there are definitely awards that, even looking back today, if David Hansen had won, I would have been like, you know what?
Maybe book. I'm like, fine, whatever.
Look, I'm like, you know what? I don't know enough about the other books to.
Yeah, I've not studied them.
The best one. It's like best lighting. I feel like could have gone to kind of any of them.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Come From Away does with lighting. I feel like it's pretty straightforward throughout.
Yeah.
So I could see it. It's like set. I'd rather give to like Great Comet.
Yes.
It has an incredible set.
It's almost like they created a nightclub.
Wow.
Isn't that nifty? Instead of just getting some fucking screens in.
Some screens in a bed. Grow up.
Get a grip.
See, okay, here's the thing, actually, thinking back on it. I do think David Hansen deserved to win Best Book.
Yeah.
Purely because of the doxing scene. That's incredible. That's like peak writing.
You love that scene so much.
It's so good.
Guys, we used to like go on a rampage about David Hansen like once a month, but ever since we put out that episode and found a new enemy, we're normal about it. As normal as we're ever gonna be about it.
I do really enjoy having a new enemy that I like to vague about it. Like I'm always like I fucking hate David Hansen. Like I am very vocal about hating mincemeat. Yeah. I hate mincemeat.
Yeah, we do. We hate mincemeat.
Operation Mincemeat. I love mincemeat the food.
Yeah.
It's so easy to cook with at uni.
Oh my god, it's so easy. But it's incredible. I like literally
Operation Mincemeat.
Like the week we recorded David Hansen, like we also saw mincemeat, so it was like as one enemy died, another one.
Yeah.
Reared its head. So it would
win back to the goddamn 2017 Tony Awards.
The bane of my existence. It would win one Tony Award, being Best Direction, which shocked me.
Again, I would still say deserved.
I'd say deserved. There's just another show where I'm like, it would recoup its investment in October 2017, grossing well over $1 million a week, with that having grossed $39 million within a few short months, which is insane. Like, I mean, this can also be attributed to the post-Hamilton boom of just Broadway.
Yeah.
In November of that year, it would sell its film rights to MGC, financing the film, Entertainment doing the distribution, with Mark Gordon producing it, and Irene Shankoff and David Hein coming back to like adapt it. And they said in an interview that they would like to film in Gander itself, with the film actors, crew, being invited into people's homes as a way to tell the story. And it was allegedly meant to start filming like in 2018, but like I don't think this film's happening. I want to be so real with all of you.
I do really wish it would. I would love to see a Come From Away.
Wish it would, but I don't think it is.
Mm.
It wouldn't include Hollywood stars, which I like. And it would want regular people, and they would like the extras to be the people of Gander, which is like the right thing to do in this situation. It would play Dublin in 2018 with a London run planned after that run, with an opening at the Phoenix Theatre on the 30th of January 2018. It would be nominated for 9 Olivier Awards, being Best Musical, Outstanding Achievement in Music, Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Clive Carter and Robert Hands, Best Actress in a Supporting Role for Rachel Tucker, Best Lighting Design, Best Sound Design, Best Director, and Best Theatre Choreographer. It would win.
Really give them some Best Theatre Choreographer.
Huh?
Some physical theatre. Physical theatre would give them some great choreography.
Oh god. It would win Outstanding Achievement in Music, Best Theatre Choreographer, Best Sound Design, and Best Musical. Thinking
Again,
about it?
What was it up against?
6.
Okay. Yeah. Was there anything else that Olivier season?
I just remember going in and having a conversation with my old singing teacher and being like, we like basically both being like, oh, it's probably gonna be Come From Away's year, but like 6 should win something. No, it's 2019. I meant.
Is it actually?
Yeah,
You
it's
wrote
2019.
2018.
I know I wrote 2018. I'm currently seeing like things.
Wow.
I'm seeing Ballad of Songbird and Snakes tomorrow. Woo!
I really want to see it.
I
also don't care enough to go.
I got a text from Nadia being like, do you want a Ballad of Songbird and Snakes tickets for £9? I was like, okay.
Oh fuck, Patti LuPone won.
Yeah, Patti LuPone won against the 6 queens.
You know what, that's deserved. Let me see. Yeah. Oh my god, Fun Home and Tina were up.
Oh fuck.
And then Revival was Company, Caroline or Change, and The King and I.
And I remember debating this with my old singing teacher, and him being like, I think 6 could take it because it is so British. And he also just really loved 6. And then I was like, I don't know, I've just seen Come From Away and I think it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I was right.
I will say, it is kind of shocking.
Yeah.
That Best Theatre Choreographer went to Come From Away and not 6 or Company.
Yeah, I do think it is like shocking how like a very Canadian musical would like win against a very British thing, because the Olivier's kind of love to give out awards to British people versus, which makes sense.
Thing, right? I hate the Best Sound Design award.
Really?
Because no fucking theatre in the West End has good sound design.
Anywho,
but Someone's Come From Away did win.
Yeah, I mean, when both times I saw it, I didn't have any issues. It would be the 6th best-selling show on the West End in 2019. In 2018, it would become the longest-running Canadian musical on Broadway, with it playing longer than The Drowsy Chaperone. During the pandemic, it would announce its plans for a filmed version from the Broadway stage, with it being recorded live on stage at the Gerald Schoenfeld Theatre in May, and it of that year, and it would have the cast members from the Broadway productions. It was produced by Radical Media, which worked on Hamilton for Disney Plus, and would employ 222 people during this time, like during the theatre shutdown, which is nice. It would then be bought by Apple Plus, and it went onto the platform on September 10th, 2021.
So, can I buy it?
Yeah.
How much is it? I bought Newsies, so I'm kind of willing
spend some money on this.
Open. How much is it actually? It's actually so embarrassing. All of my searches on the Apple TV app are Phantom of the Opera and then Barbie of Swan Lake. And also Love Never Dies for some reason.
What's really interesting is, I don't think this is talked about much, but allegedly there's like tons of pro shoots just like bouncing around that doesn't have a distributor. So the fact that this show was able to get a distributor is like really amazing. What you Yeah. Is it a lot of money?
It's free.
Yeah, if you have Apple Plus, Apple
I
TV.
don't.
You don't? What? Sorry.
Maybe I do. I didn't think I did.
I think you must do. Right, okay, so I can't show you what
Well, I personally don't. Maybe I will watch Come From Away for the first time ever.
Oh, 7 days free and then
Oh damn! It's just letting me watch it. Maybe I will watch that.
slow.
Anyways, let's continue.
Anyway, it would reopen on Broadway September 21st, 2021 after COVID. It would not be about controversy since Chad Kimball, who plays Kevin, one of the Kevins,
One of the Kevins.
in the original Broadway run, would file a lawsuit against the producers of Come From Away, saying that he wasn't rehired for the show's post-pandemic return after he spoke out against the COVID restrictions on religious services.
I just want to say it is kind of crazy. I don't know if it would be disrespectful, but I know they close a lot of stuff. But the fact that they couldn't perform for the 20th anniversary, and is anniversary the right word?
Yeah, because the anniversaries, the bad stuff still happens.
Yeah, but so 20 years after 9/11 would have been September 11th,
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah.
So they opened on September. Because I know, like, again, don't ask why specifically I know this, but it's like the 9/11 museum.
I've been.
Royal closes. Yeah, but it closes on 9/11 every year, and
Yeah.
it only lets families of victims and people who lived through it, well, not lived through it, but like were
Survivors.
affected by it.
Yeah.
Only they're allowed to go in,
Yeah.
and there's like special services and stuff.
Yeah.
So I understand like why I guess, but I can't. It's not like they were doing something else, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's not like they weren't
I think
opening
like
because they were doing a special
no,
performance.
I think that like a lot of shows that was just the first, because if like looking at it, that was just the date a lot of the shows came back. Like I think there was probably some like public health like restriction lifted or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it was like the first day after everyone could come safely back into the rehearsal rooms that it made sense to go back on stage.
Yeah.
I think it was something like that. But anyway, Kimball, who was an original Broadway cast member when it opened in 2017, alleges in the lawsuit that the production failed to rehire him for the role of Kevin T in the post-shutdown return, based wholly or partly on his religious faith. Kimball's religious belief became well known last November when the actor, who among Broadway's first wave of theatre workers became sickened with COVID in March 2020, spoke out against Washington State's newly enacted COVID protocols and capacity limits on indoor religious services. After the state prohibited congregation singing and required all congregation members and attendees to wear facial coverings, Kimball, a Seattle native who had temporarily moved to his hometown during the COVID shutdown, retweeted, "Respectfully, I will never allow a governor or anyone to stop me from, in all caps, singing, let alone," back to normal space letters, "let alone in worship to my God. Folks, absolute caps, power, close caps, corrupts, caps, absolutely, close caps. This is nothing about safety, it's all about capital letters, power. I will respectfully disobey these unlawful orders." They're not stopping you from going to church. They're just saying, please don't get COVID.
Oh god.
The lawsuit.
How many Broadway actors were like this?
The lawsuit was filed in New York State Supreme Court. The suit claims that he was not invited back to be part of the show when it reopened. The production needed to focus on bringing the show back together and ensure people's safety. The suit also alleges that one of the show's producers suggested to Kimball that the events of the Capitol, Josh Hurley, conservative Christian movement were tied together in a connection between Mr. Kimball by virtue of faith and to the ideas and actions of January 6th at the US Capitol. What?
So they were alleging that this random Broadway cast member was a part of the January 6th insurrection.
Guys, please check out this like Deadline article that I'm gonna have linked.
It is crazy.
Because am I reading this right? Is the dyslexia playing up?
No, that's what they're implying, that he was a part of it.
No, the suit's alleging
Well, okay.
that a producer, so Chad's basically saying he is alleging that I was at the Capitol. And that's why he won't rehire me. Is that right?
No, so he's saying that one of the producers mentioned or implied to him
that
his identity as
Yes.
part of the Christian faith
Yeah.
linked him to the identity of those that attacked the Capitol because of
Yeah.
his views around COVID and of Christianity and his like actions of that. And he's saying
Is religious
that's
discrimination.
and probably defamation.
Yeah, I mean, don't really fully want to get into it right
It's kind
now.
of crazy though.
However, I could not find an update on this lawsuit.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it has much like standing.
No. Or I think it must have been like the decision to rehire him must have just been about COVID protocols. Like, I think we need to ensure that everyone in the building is going to follow because Broadway had way stricter COVID protocols longer than the West End did.
Oh yeah, I think it's one of those things. I do hate to bring her up.
Laura,
But it might just be like the Laura Osnes thing.
where it has nothing to do with being a Christian and something to do with the fact that they didn't follow the rules.
Yeah, it's that they weren't being safe. They were putting everyone at risk.
Yeah.
And so they weren't rehired unless they could change. And if they refused to change, then that's what happened.
Yeah, because it says here the producers of Come From Away, doing business as Kiss the Cod Broadway Limited Partnership, declined to comment on the lawsuit when contacted by Deadline today. Come From Away returned to Broadway's Gerald Schonfield Theatre on September 21st. All Broadway venues require their audience members and theatre workers to be fully vaccinated, and audiences must wear masks.
It might be one of those things where it's not anything. How do I put this? Where it's like he's said he doesn't want to get vaccinated or he doesn't want to follow these rules because of his religion.
Yeah.
And they've said that's fine. You're completely in your right to do that. However, we cannot rehire you
because these are the rules.
Because you need to follow these rules.
Yeah.
And he's saying, well, you're discriminating me based on my religion. You know, you wouldn't not hire someone because I think like you wouldn't not hire a Jewish person because they have to eat kosher.
Yeah. There are religious accommodations.
That's discrimination.
Yeah, there are religious accommodations that you have to make by law.
Yeah, which I'm going to be real. This is not one of them.
No,
that's just what he said. I reckon, at least, that's just what he said.
Well, it's just Come From Away would unfortunately close on the 2nd of October 2022, with it being the 59th longest running show on Broadway.
49th. I want to be so real.
Yeah, I know, I was messing that up. 49th longest running show on Broadway, and it being the longest tenant in the 105-year history of the Schonfield Theatre. It would be the last show of the 2017 Tony Awards season to be running, as Evil would have been defeated on the 18th of September 2022 when Dear Evan Hansen announced it was closing.
God bless.
And it would close on the West End on January the 7th, 2023. And I also will include a link of a very powerful article I read about a guy 20 years after being stranded in Newfoundland reflecting on his experience. I don't think he's like directly referenced in the musical, but he includes like photos and stuff, and it's really interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was Come From Away. I mean, I like the fact that it was the last.
Yeah, it was good. I feel unfortunately we're in a trend of reviewing musicals that we're reviewing, because this is not a review. Talking about musicals that we just really like.
Yeah.
And I think unfortunately it might continue for a little bit.
Let's look at the calendar. Yeah. Actually, end of year review, as we've said.
Yeah. Okay, next, can I read all of this out? Can I do up until, because it's like a month.
I like the little like you have to wait until the end of the episode to find out what we're doing next week.
We're doing great commit.
Yeah, guys, next week it is a great comet. We're staying with 2017, and we might be staying with 2017 for another week after.
Yeah. I think this is the thing. Like, we did it with Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
We're doing it with Capricorn, and we're gonna do it with Great Comet, where when we're talking about our thoughts,
yeah,
I really love this musical. I really like how they did it. I really want to go see this. I really want to go see this again. I really like this musical.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the other ones we have. My God. Guys, 5th of February, look out. next year, 5th of February.
Yeah, guys,
look
believe it or
out.
not, we have content planned out until
Okay, not like consistent,
not
but
consistent.
there are things planned up until my birthday next year, which is around the 2nd of October.
Yeah,
We have stuff like laid out that's gonna go up until that point.
yeah.
Not because we have pretty consistently until like the end of February. Not even that actually, like halfway through February.
No, we have stuff. I just forgot to write them in.
What the hell do we have? I'm gonna forget.
I'll tell you off mic. Anyway,
Okay.
we're doing Great Comet next week, and we're going to be positive. But like at the end of the day, we do genuinely really love theatre.
Look, I was listening to the show that we're doing the week after Great Comet.
Yeah,
We've already hinted at it a little bit.
yeah, we spoke about it.
Oh my god, I fucking love that show.
Yeah,
And then the one after, I just really like the story.
yeah, yeah. And then end of year
And
review, we're
like
going to be bitching.
end of year review, we're going to be insufferable.
Yeah, so join us next week for Great Comet. And I'd also just like to say, I've noticed that there's been quite a few people listening, new people listening as of late. Thank you. It's really cool. We really like the fact that you guys like listen and like stuff. We'd love to hear from you. I've started like putting out different kind of content on our social medias.
No, on the Twitter. I've been slacking on the Twitter. I just forget it exists.
Contact Nell over the Twitter to start
promoting
but no, if you want to leave us a review, do. If you want to follow us on social medias, I've started posting like exclusive content to them.
Yeah. If we get enough followers on TikTok, Esme will release every single time I talked about killing myself during the Kevin Hansen episode. It might have to be a two-part. I know they have 10-minute long videos on TikTok now, but it might be more than that.
Guys, if we get like also we will watch Dear Evan Hansen because people keep listening to it. I'm like, guys, stop. Just joking. Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you. There was something else I was gonna say. Yeah, maybe over on our Instagram we'll share like a content calendar of what's coming up for the month.
Yeah.
So that will be that. So if you want to know what we're doing, follow us on Instagram. I've recently discovered a passion for graphic design.
Yeah, it's been very shocking.
Now texted me was like, did we hire a graphic designer who made this?
That's pretty shocked. It looks pretty good. Yeah, we're basically wrong about musicals, or you're wrong about musicals on every platform.
Yeah.
There's a link tree somewhere.
There is
I made it. I'm actually quite proud of it.
Our link tree is really sick.
Where Esme puts it.
I can't put it in our. I could put it in our Spotify, but I just have them all listed.
Yeah.
Also, we're debating opening up doing a Substack. If you guys want to know that, if you guys want to hear our we'll do show reviews. I have some things I want to write about.
Yeah.
So yeah, join us next week for Great Comet. Bye-bye.
Bye.